If you ever wondered what a timing and prediction astrology reading might be with me, I want to show you the best example I can give, my own birth charts, and how I weave astrology and what I do for my clients. So, first off, when I'm doing a birth chart reading, timing prediction technique one, I'm looking at multiple charts. We start with the natal chart, then we go into the natal transits, then we go into your annual perfection years, zodiacal releasing, progress charts, then solar return charts. In addition, you look at transits to the progress, to their solar return, and you overlap your progressed and natal chart or solar return chart with your natal chart. And I'm going to show you all of this here. So, what I want to say before I begin is I understand as an astrologer that I am always planting seeds. So timing prediction readings are very sacred and you have free will. You have the ability to choose how is this energy going to manifest, okay? It can manifest in a most empowered side or it can manifest in more of a shadow aspect or 50 shades in between. Again, you have free will to choose. So when I am predicting for someone, I don't exactly say this is going to happen on this date. What I do is I tell you themes that might be arising. And so I'm just so excited to share this with you because I actually already recorded this entire video, but I was not sharing my screen. While I was doing it, I actually was looking at my own transits for next year for the first time, and I uncovered something so massive for myself that I need to show you guys exactly the power of astrology. So let me just share my screen. Okay. First off, I'm going to start just explaining what an annual perfection is because I think this is the only time I need to use another image. So basically, annual perfections is a Hellenistic timing technique. It's ancient. And what it explains is every year, depending on your age, so these are the ages, one house of your birth chart is like lit up. The themes of that house are lit up. And so, for example, I am 30. So my seventh house is lit up. The seventh house themes are marriage, business partners, one on one clients, anything where there's a one on one contractual agreement between people. Okay. So you can take a second, pause it, look at how old you are, and then you'll see what house it's ruling. Now, it's not enough just to look at the house. You also want to look at the natal chart because you want to look at what sign is ruling that house. So for me, I have Aries ruling my seventh house, which means Mars, the planet that rules Aries, is my time lord for this year. So anytime Mars is doing something in the sky, it is going to be extremely important for me during this year. And wherever Mars is in my birth chart is also going to be quote unquote activated. So I don't have any seventh house placements. So it's just the energy of Aries here, in addition to Mars. Mars is in my 11th house of community, groups of people, networking, and that's in Leo. Okay. So I know that my 11th house is pretty significant. Not only that, if you think about transits, Mars actually retrograde. Oh, I'm in 2026 because I was weaving. Hold on. Let me get back to right now. Actually, we'll go back to my birthday. So when the seventh house became my time lord, Mars was actually in my 10th house. And I believe it was retrograding. Yeah, and it was retrograding in Cancer. So that really signified to me my career this specific year is going to be a moment in time that I have to revise and re-edit. But it's linked to my seventh house. Why would that be? Well, me and my husband went into business together in March of this year. So 1 month after my birthday, we went into business together. He was technically laid off on March 14th, right on the lunar eclipse in Pisces, but he found out March 1st that he was going to be let go. So we went into business together, starting technically full time in April of 2025. We made the decision in March during eclipse season, and I left my quote unquote like stable job in April being a traditional therapist. Why this is so significant is obviously my seventh house. Like, not only did I go into business with my husband, like business partners, husband, they are now intertwined, very seventh house. Saturn entered my seventh house. Saturn, whatever house it's in for those 2.5 years, is where you're really focused on discipline, responsibility. But because of that hyper focus on discipline, it can almost feel restricted. I've been eyeing this transit for a while, wondering what the fuck's going to happen in my marriage with Saturn being there. Okay, well, we're actually going into business together. And what's so funny about this is I met my husband back in 2020 when I started reading charts, and I told him we are meant to go into business together in our synastry. And he said, yeah, no. Lo and behold, we are now in business together. And so it makes a lot of sense. Now, what I will say is it hasn't been easy. And you will see in other parts of my weaving why it hasn't been easy. But anyways, we have Saturn there. It's been very restrictive for our marriage. It's been very hard on our marriage because we're learning how not just to be lovers, not just to be parents, but also now how to be business partners. He is very analytical. He's very literal with his words, and he's very objective. He's a Virgo rising, okay? Mercury rules him, all those things. I, on the other hand, are Libra rising. I am very subjective. I go off feeling. I am very ambiguous with my words. What I say doesn't always mean what I mean. And so we are on opposite side of the spectrums trying to work together right now. And so there has been some tension there. So it makes a lot of sense of why the seventh house is a major focus for me this year. Simultaneously, Saturn's there. Okay. So what I love as well is not only was Mars in my 10th house, so when it went direct, I had a clear vision on, me and him had a clear vision on how we're going to expand my business. Prior to him coming online, I knew I wanted to teach. I've been teaching for 2-3 years now, just small cohorts, one-on-one mentorship, things like that. But I wanted to expand. And because he came on to work for the Lunar Child, that was feasible. So ironically, when Mars went direct, we were planning my new mentorship. Then Mars hit my 11th house in the sky, okay? So Mars went through Cancer and in April hit Leo. Why this is so significant is as I was launching my mentorship program that is currently live, I was actually going through a Mars return. This is right now, so Mars is in Leo. But when Mars was conjunct my natal Mars, it was the beginning of my mentorship. And Mars return happens every 2 years, and it's a passion project beginning. And so me being a mentor in astrology begun, okay? But it goes so much bigger than that, and you will find out soon. So that's annual perfections. And so anything Mars does this year, I'm going to be very, very focused on. And then there's that transit, Saturn being in my 7th house. Now, you could look at other transits to really understand what I'm going to be going through. Not only was Mars transiting my 10th house on my birthday, Jupiter is now in my 10th house of career, of legacy, of being seen. So that's really being expanded in my career right now. And if we came down to zodiacal releasing, which we will in a sec, it mimics this as well. But I'm not even going to get to that yet because I want to finish transits. So additionally, the North Node is actually going to be on my Saturn this year. And that's a big deal because Saturn is your karma. It's your duty to the collective. Mine is in Pisces, is in the 6th house. I am meant to serve in my career day to day in a very spiritual way. So I'm excited to see this eclipse season play out. So for time's sake, let's just go to zodiacal releasing. Zodiacal releasing is also a Hellenistic timing technique as well. And so basically, we predict from these different lots. A lot of fortune is around fated events that happen to you. A lot of spirit is around career specifically. A lot of eros is around love. For this video, we are just going to look at a lot of spirit because clearly career is a big lesson for me this year. So a lot of spirit is here. Now, level 1 are the books of your life. They are very slow moving. They are decades long, okay? So when you change into a new book, it is very significant. Level 2 are chapters. Those are also very significant, right? When you're reading a book, every chapter has a different theme. So that is how you can think about level 2. Level 3 are sentences on the page, and level 4 are the words on that page. So level 3s and 4s aren't as powerful. However, when there's a loosening the bonds and LB, they are, and I'll get to that in a sec. Let's start with level 1. Bam, in 2021, September, it's in Taurus. What happened during this month? I finished my first course with my mentor, the fundamentals of astrology. I could read birth charts. I started having donation readings in September of 2021. around that time. Either way, that month was when I finished my first course with the mentor that went on to teach me everything I know. So it was in Taurus. So you want to look to what's going on in your birth chart in Taurus. Boom, South Node, eighth house of the occult, right? Astrology can fall in here, but most importantly, it's the South Node. My past life karma, my past life rememberings is a huge focus of this book, and it makes a lot of sense because astrology has always just naturally come to me, and it just kind of flows off the tip of my tongue. Things come to me that I was never taught, but then I go back and learn about it and I already knew, right? So that's kind of that past life remembering. In addition, my North Node is in Scorpio in my second house. The more I work with people and help them transform, the more my purpose comes alive. Okay. Well, then you go into January of 2024. That's the specific book I'm currently in. If you come here, that is my 10th house, right? Jupiter is currently there, which is very benefic planet. So I do know from January of 2024 all the way to 2026, it's a really important year. Now, this is going to be very technical, but I'm technically in a peak period. Do you see that Taurus rules this chapter? Well, because Taurus rules my lot of fortune, that means this is an extra peak period for me. It's a very significant book in my whole entire life. Again, this specifically from 2021 to 2022, and this is when I was heavy in my mentorship. So it's just so fun to see this. Anyways, I am now in a Cancer chapter. My moon is there. This was the month I was miscarrying. But then in February, literally that next month, I did conceive my daughter. When I conceived my daughter, I knew that traditional therapy was no longer my career route. I knew that that wasn't going to be sustainable for me. However, I didn't leave until a year later, which still makes sense because in January 2024 to 2026. So in April of 2025, I officially left my career as a traditional therapist. And I'm a full-time astrologer, teacher. I don't even know how to describe myself. So again, wow, such an amazing time for me. I'm really expanding my career 10th house. Then January 30th of 2026. This is where I started. I wish the last video was live so you could see my reactions. But in January, I'm launching level 2 of my mentorship certification route, which I think a lot of people are going to want to do because they want to learn timing and predictions like I'm showing you now. But in addition, I'm actually going to be launching my healing modalities. So I'm the Lunar Child Institute. You can come to me not just to learn astrology, but also techniques to support healing to be in service. So I have a practitioner coming to teach EFT starting in January, February. We're going to have a practitioner teach breathwork. I'm going to be doing workshops on trauma. I'm going to be doing workshops on developmental stages and astrology transits. Like I am expanding the Lunar Child in January of 2026, the month that I am changing chapters into Leo. Leo is my 11th house, groups of people, networks. I'm meant to lead Leo groups of people. Holy moly. Do you understand how crazy this is? And then you think about the ruler, because right now the ruler is in my 10th house. So it's very 10th house heavy. The ruler of Leo is the sun. The sun is in my 5th house of Aquarius. I am meant to be leading people in astrology. Aquarius rules the fucking stars. God, I love astrology. Okay. So then you might think, well, why did you have a loosening of the bonds in January of 2025? Why this was a significant loosening of the bonds? First off, what a loosening of the bonds is something in your life needed to shake up a little bit, okay? It needed to carve a new path. Maybe you redirected. And between January and August 28th, as I'm still in this loosening bond chapter, I actually decided to expand into an institute, one, but secondly, I've actually developed my own method of astrology and therapy together. I have not disclosed what I'm doing yet. I'm going to be practicing it over a year and I'll be teaching it next year, the end of next year. Hold that in your mind, okay? So that's pretty significant, and that's why there's a loosening of the bonds here. Now, we went over zodiacal releasing briefly, right? This is just a brief overview. We went over some transits going on. We went over annual profections. Where do we go next? Next, we are going to go into solar return. Okay. So for this year's solar return, you can see that the sun, the most important planet in a solar return chart, is the sun because it's where the sun returns, is in my second house of resources, second house of attachments, second house of money. Okay. Now, you don't want to just read the solar return chart alone. What you want to do is you want to make sure you are layering the solar return chart with the natal chart. This is going to give you the most accurate depiction of your year ahead. So this is my natal chart, and this is my solar return chart around it. So if I'm looking at my solar return chart, I understand that the second house of resources is very pivotal this year. Okay, well, my sun is in my fifth house. So if I birth something creative, I will create money off of it. Bam. Makes sense, right? I am launching my institute this year. I've launched my mentorship this year, and that is actually my greatest source of income right now. Then I want to just draw your attention to Mars being in my seventh house of Cancer. Remember that my annual perfection year is seventh house, and Mars is my time lord, and it is retrograding in Cancer. This is hilarious to me because Mars in Cancer is very passive aggressive, and me and my husband just haven't gotten our footing this year, right? Like I said, it's been clunky learning how to work together, and it's been hard and it's been emotional. And I don't even know if I already said it in this video, but my 9-month-old does not sleep. So I'm postpartum. He's postpartum. We have a baby that does not sleep. I'm not exaggerating. We are August 25th. She woke up every single hour on the hour last night. She's also teething. If you're a parent, you know how hard this time is. So having Mars in my seventh house, having it retrograding, having it in Cancer, it's debilitated. It doesn't like to be here. It makes a lot of sense. We are moving through a lot. And if you come to my natal chart, right, we have a Saturn there. So again, I'm just like, wow, giving me and my husband grace right now because that's really hard. And that's just something that really the time lord. And then what else? For time's sake, we're just going to go over your rising. Your rising in your solar return is how you're going to approach this year. I've been determined. I'm going to work hard. And that is so freaking true, right? Saturn rules me. It's in my third house of communication, and it's also around teaching. You know, the ninth and third house is really around different modalities of teaching and learning access. So having my chart ruler there, Saturn in Pisces, just makes a lot of sense because I'm really honing in on how I'm teaching astrology. The other thing I wanted to just note is very much my Venus in Aries, feeling like I consecutively am looking at how can I create a sustainable business. And I think it does at times make my husband feel like I'm not paying attention to his needs. So I could see how that Mars in Cancer and that Venus in Aries is a little bit rough for our relationship because remember, Venus also rules over love and relationships, and it's in Aries this year. So it's just a harder year for our marriage. And that is par for the course with a 9-month-old, right? And starting a business on your own. So again, when you're looking at your solar return, you want to look also at the natal chart. Now, at your natal chart, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you guys the next year's. And I think this is important because we looked, okay, it's going into a Leo chapter in zodiacal releasing. What the heck is happening in my birthday? Bam. Sun is in my 10th house of career next year. So this year, it was really around focusing on resources, sustaining resources, right? If I could not make income this year, my husband and I could not keep doing what we're doing. So my slow return chart is giving me a lot of confidence of like, you're going to be okay. Then the next year, it goes into a 10th house year. So I'm focusing on my legacy, being seen, and Mars is there. There's going to be a lot of passion, okay? And I love, love, love that because, again, I'm truly launching the Institute around January, February of next year. So that was just like a head nod. Also, I'm a Taurus rising. There's a little bit of sustainability with Taurus rising. It wants to create safety and stability, but then you want to look to where is Venus, and it's in Pisces. It's exalted. So for me, it looks to me that it's going to be a very benefic year for me because my chart ruler and my solar return is exalted. It's Venus. Mwah, chef's kiss. And then Mercury is conjunct my North Node, which means I'm really learning my psychic abilities next year. North Node, destiny, Mercury, my mind, how I communicate. It's debilitated in Pisces, but the only reason it's debilitated in Pisces is because it's not objective and linear. It's in that flow, that spirit space. So I actually am not mad about this. I'm very excited about this placement. It's also in my 11th house of groups of people, community, right? I want to teach to the masses. Now, you can look also at Saturn's at the 29th degree. I love that. Okay. I'm afraid of Saturn. Bring it on, baby. It's basically saying step up to the plate, create your legacy, because what you have to do, let me go, is you want to mirror it to your natal chart. So my Saturn is in my 6th house of service, of my job. So the fact that it's literally at the 29th degree, it's like, you better be ready for service, Lauren. Step the F up, have the confidence, have the determination. You can do it. Honestly, when I read my chart, it's like my coach, basically. It's like my planets are my guides, right? So that's why I like talk like they're talking to me, because they are. Okay. So now we are back to the solar return. You see that my moon is at the 29th degree as well. So I have Saturn there and I have the moon there. That's really telling me it's in the 8th house of Sagittarius. Some deep, deep wisdom will be coming to me. It's going to be a moment in time that I'm really going inward. I'm shedding a lot. And that makes a lot of sense as I like step up to the plate. Okay. Again, where are we? We're at 21 minutes. Shit. Okay. So we did solar return. We layered it. What else do I want to do? Let's go into progress charts. Okay. So progressed. Oh my gosh, the most important part. Okay, so what a natal birth chart is basically it is your soul's roadmap, right? And it's so important for your journey here. And it gives you so many amazing insights about your DNA. It's like your code, your conscious self. Human design will tell you about your own unconscious self. But then you have your progress chart. And basically, your progress chart is telling you that you are constantly growing, you are constantly learning, okay? And evolving. And so that's what the progress chart is really going to share. And so basically, this is a whole nother chart that I'm not going to get into for time's sake, but what I want you to know is your moon, every planet shifts signs. Some takes decades, some takes years. The moon takes 2.5 years. That's the fastest moving planet. So it's the most important one to pay attention to. And because wherever the moon is, it's your emotional lessons you are focusing on. It's where your subconscious is focusing on. So for me, a few months ago, the moon moved into Virgo. And so I'm really focusing on the archetype of Virgo, which is very interesting because where are the eclipses happening? Pisces and Virgo. Where is my sun? Pisces. Okay. So this eclipse season that is coming in my progress chart is actually very, very significant because we have a lunar eclipse right on my progress Saturn near my progress sun and moon, right? And so like, we're not going to get into the dates. Basically, we just had a new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo. Then we're going to have a lunar eclipse right in the middle of Pisces. I don't know the exact degrees, like 12 to 16, something like that. And then we have a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo. So my progress chart is very activated. Now, that is technically almost a full moon, right? Because the moon is opposing the sun. Now, this is where it gets so cool, you guys. When you go through a progressed full moon, which happens, I think, every 27, 28 years, it's a culmination moment, right? Because you had a new moon about 15 years before that. So you've been really working towards something and it's this culmination moment. It's really celebratory and it's really exciting. So I did the math and mine peaks in November of 2026. Okay. So my moon will be at 25 degrees and my sun will be at 25 degrees of Pisces. This is creating a full moon. Now, other things in my progress chart to pay attention to, my rising sign, that's also really important. But again, let's just stay on this topic. So let's look at the transits to my progress chart. I want us to, just like I did with the solar return, you do want to look at the natal progress chart as well. It's going to give you a lot of insights. So currently I actually have Mars, right? My Time Lord this year is in my 10th house of my progress chart. It's literally right off the MC. That's cool, yada, yada, yada. I don't even really want to go through this. What I want to go through is November of 2026. Why this is so significant is as my progress moon peaks, look at what's going on in my natal birth chart. And this is why you want to look at multiple charts. Okay. So remember, I'm actively in a Leo chapter. Okay. Leo. My sun is in Aquarius. The North Node is now in Aquarius. And in November of 2026, the North Node in the sky is at 24 degrees. It is conjunct my sun. This only happens every 18 years. My progressed moon is peaking at the exact same month that my North Node is coming to my sun, where the South Node is going to my Mars, Jupiter and Mars. So I'm going through another Mars return during this time. I just went through one, right around my birthday. Now I'm going through it again. Jupiter is there, and I'm in a Leo chapter. So this is, the eclipses are coming. So not only am I going through a progressed full moon, I'm going through eclipses on my sun. When your sun gets eclipsed, it's external shifts and changes. It's a massive time in your life. And just having all of this Leo energy, I'm just like, I'm going to have to sit with this tonight and like really, really dive in to what this actually means for me. Venus is in my first house. The sun will be right on my Pluto. Like, this is just such a massive time that I just saw for the first time as I was trying to do this live. So I'm just beyond excited for next year, at the end of next year, but I have to go through this eclipse season to understand, right? And so this is what I'm talking about, timing and predictions. I don't know what's coming for me. I literally don't know what's coming for me. But what I did tell you around zodiacal releasing is at the end of next year, I'm teaching my own astrology therapy method. So it makes sense that my legacy, what I am here to birth into this world, it's being eclipsed and being seen for it. I don't know, but I'm going to stand the path. Things can shift, things can change, but this is what I do. This is what I do. This is how I weave charts. Not once did I say this is going to happen, but themes around my career. It was like career. So I know I'm focusing on my career right now. And what's happening in my life? I'm focusing on my career. So it also gave me some validation with what's going on with me and my husband right now, that it is a hard year, but next year it's going to get better, right? So astrology gives you remedies. It gives you validation. It gives you something to look forward to. It helps you manifest. It's amazing. And this was just a 30-minute quick reading. You know, I go into way deeper information when you're actually in a reading with me, but I just wanted to give you guys like a little taste of what it could be like. So, and there's so much more that I didn't even dive into because it would have been so much. So honestly, drop any comments below. If you want to learn timing and predictions, this is what I'm launching January of 2026. So if you want to learn this and you don't know the fundamentals, you need to take my level 1 that is launching this September. We'll start October, like 4th. But you need to know the fundamentals. You need to know dignity. You need to know rulerships. You need to know aspects. So you might understand the archetypes and the planets, but if you don't know aspects and dignity and rulership and all of that, you need to take my level 1. Okay. So I'll leave that there. Comment if you have questions. Let me know, where you guys are at. And I'll just keep coming on here and showing you guys more examples of clients that I read for as well. So you guys can really understand what happens behind the scenes of the lunar child. And thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.